So we owe it to them to practice wiping our booty now, to practice. There are people without legs. There are people there's the girl without arms. She go wipe her own booty. She figured it out. She's on the
Right.
internet. I don't have arms, and let me show you what I figured out today. Putting her own
Yep.
clothes on and baking in her kitchen. One of my dearest
Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and KayCee. A Boucher Ventures production brought to you by Just E TV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
I wanted to touch on, because we got into it, but we strayed away from it when you were going to discuss yoga and healing, like healing of the body. I wanted to touch on that a little bit because you asked about my background, but I want to hear what you have to say first before I explain some of the stuff that I did.
Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things that ancient people did is try to not have too many buckets of problems, right? So a problem is either digestive, right? Digestion, the food that goes in and the poop that comes out, and then the in between. Digestion.
Is that gut health?
Digestion. Yeah.
Another problem, another problem would be lungs. And in yoga, they don't really believe like cardio. They don't really believe in cardio. They believe that the heart needs to be elevated mildly, purposefully. So therefore the sun salutes and some of the movements, but not high intensity intervals. So this is a little bit different than Western. Yes, you need to elevate it, but not. So they didn't really think of the heart the way we do in the West. So you have breathing, and what we call pranayama. And a lot of people moving away from the term pranayama, but I would just remind people that the word prana means energy. And these people recognize that breathing is our source. Breathing is our life source. If a person's not breathing, they're dead. Life force is in the breath, somewhere in the breathing. You can go several days without eating. So while it's true we need to eat, it is not life force.
Correct.
Right? Breathing. So there's a lot of breathing, and anybody listening, if you want to learn, I want to teach you. Find me. Can I just do my stuff? I'm Instagram.
Absolutely.
_yogi Instagram, Yogi Cecily YouTube, Cecily's Yoga Retreats. Right?
And all this will be in the description of this video.
So that you, great. So that you have the menu of what to work on. Just like cooking, right? We're talking about cooking. Cooking, you need menus, you need the cookbooks, right? Not just how do I do it? You need the whole cookbooks for the whole idea of it, right? So cooking. So pranayama. So then also some of the things in healing, again, it's meditation. So we think of meditation as sitting quietly. Also what I'm going to call directed meditation and or visualization and or positive reinforcement. Okay. So positive reinforcement goes something like this, like repeating, my body is strong. I make my body strong every day. My liver, so then you go, ideally, you go into all of the areas. My eyes are strong. My liver is strong, so forth and so on. Now people say, well, that wouldn't work. That doesn't work. And I say, you know what? Ask your liver as if your liver was another person. And what you're saying is that your liver can't hear you.
Right.
And if your liver was another person, you're just like, oh, whatever. You do
like, whatever.
I love you. Do I have to say I love you? I love you. No, see, so the early yogi people would say, how is it going to work if you don't even know the constituent parts of yourself? If you don't even speak to the constituent parts, bones, liver, kidney. I ask students all the time, where are your kidneys? Where's your liver? Is your heart more to the left or to the right? How many ribs do you have? How do your eyes work? And people don't know. People don't know how their own body works. So again, this is like cooking to me.
Right.
People don't know how to cook
People don't know how to cook.
because they don't know a parsnip from a carrot. So they look the same, but they're not the same. So this
Exactly.
is how yogis would approach healing. Dear ladies, the first thing that they would say is, yes, get an anatomy book, just an anatomy book. Get an anatomy chart and put it up on your mirror in your bathroom and stand there before you jump in the shower. And we need more Black lady anatomy drawings with a Black woman, not some white man, right? So, and then,
Right.
right? So that
Right.
we can look
Absolutely.
at something and ask these areas to be healthy, be aware. Now, then we have to look at our own pee, we have to look at our own poop, we have to be on a schedule. Our eating on a schedule, our pooping should be on a schedule, our sleep should be on a schedule. So again, what early people would look like, well, if things aren't on a schedule, I can't even evaluate your health. The first thing an early yogi is going to do is put everything on a schedule. And then they're going to look at how you do on that schedule. If food goes in and the poop doesn't come out, then something's blocking,
Absolutely.
right? And so forth and so on.
Yep.
It's not too mystical. Now, then also we have something in yoga called Ayurveda.
Yes.
And yeah, see?
Okay.
We spoke on this.
Yeah.
Yep. We mentioned it in one of the
Yep.
past episodes.
Yep.
It's a little anecdotal. However, I would recommend people try it before they get ill. This is the main problem. People want to go back into antiquity after they're
After. Right.
ill. You can't wait until you're hungry to know how to make a meal. Okay, my God, I'm hungry now. What's this?
And if
What
you're
is this?
hungry, don't go grocery shopping because your grocery shopping list is what?
Right? So,
Right.
to answer your questions, that's how they would approach it. Ayurveda, things on a schedule, sleep habit, breathing, attention. So one of the reasons why they would give you a repeated mantra, like what Tina
Mhm.
Turner used to do,
Mhm.
is that's attention. And if you ever hear the recordings of her doing it, 45 minutes, Om Nam Myo. Well, you can't do it if you don't have breath, and you can't do it if you can't pay attention. If you can't keep your attention focused. It doesn't have to be that mantra. You can say, I want peanut butter and jelly. I want peanut butter and jelly. I want peanut
Right.
butter and jelly. I want peanut butter and jelly. If you're trying to eat better, I will eat broccoli. I will eat broccoli. I will eat broccoli. For 45 minutes, you're going to go to the store. You're going to get the broccoli. You're going to eat it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because you put your mind on it for 45 minutes repeting. That is how
I
early
love
people,
this.
early yogis would do it.
The fact that you're saying this, I went through a health scare and we talked about it, and it was with my liver, that organ. And everything you just said, I had to do. I had to forget everything I was taught or was told to do and not eat as much. I started intermittent fasting. So I didn't eat until like 1 o'clock. So I gave my body time to rest. I
Rest.
even did affirmations. So I would talk to my body. I would, tell it, talking to it. And then I did yoga poses. So I looked up yoga poses that could help
For the
my
liver.
organs. Yeah, to relieve pain.
Did it have a
and
lot
to
of twisting, quite a bit of twisting?
Yes. Yes. And so I did that because they scared the hell out of me trying to give me medicine, pills. And they told me there was nothing that they could do. There was nothing that I could do, and just take this pill. And I was like, that's crazy to me. So I began to look at things and try to research, like you're saying, research, look and see what you can find. And so, yes, I started eating less. Then I learned about grounding, earthing, just walking out on the grass and just absorbing nature through my body. And then sunbathing early in the day and letting vitamin D touch me and
Now,
just focusing and quieting
now,
down.
you're supposed to let that, I know this sounds weird, you're supposed to let that sunlight get in your vajayjay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
You're
geez.
I
didn't know that.
supposed to turn your booty. You're supposed to turn your booty up to it.
Are
and let
you
that
for
get-
really? Okay, I did not know that. I didn't know that.
You're supposed to let that vitamin D get everywhere.
Okay, I was not
Everywhere.
expecting this.
Okay.
All righty.
I love it.
And we live
I
in the
love it.
perfect place to do just that. All right.
Okay. No, I mean, everything
Yeah.
she was saying, you just confirmed everything. And then, like I said, when I did all this, I went through an MRI, and when they looked at it again, they said it was unremarkable. And I thought that was bad, but that was actually a good thing for your liver to be unremarkable. That means
Yeah.
it's in a good
Yeah.
condition now. Because I had a fatty liver. So, and a heptic liver. So it,
Mhm.
yeah. So all of that, what you were saying, yeah, I did it and it actually worked. So I'm like, it just
Yeah.
confirms a lot that you're saying what you're saying. Cause I was like, well, maybe it was just a hokum. Maybe it just happenstance that all that
Well,
happened. But
I think it comes out hokey,
yeah.
because just for this podcast, I'm just going to keep referring to cooking. There's a
Mhm.
slight difference between
Mhm.
chopping your garlic and smashing it.
Correct.
There's a difference between how the oil in the garlic is released.
Mhm.
So in some recipes, they will, smash it and mush it. And then some recipes, chop it. And there's a difference, which if you do not know how to cook, that just sounds hokey. That sounds,
Right.
no, why can't I just take the whole garlic and just throw it in there?
Right. What difference does it make? Right.
What difference does it make? Big, huge, which is why you pay
Right.
a lot of money to go to a 5-star chef, is because they know the differences and they
Correct.
have to go to school and learn the differences. Now, when it comes to our own body, the best thing for us to do, and this podcast is helping, is for us all to continue to learn and read the books. And I wouldn't think about anything as being hokey. I would explore and learn and read about. I've done hypnosis. For a long time, I thought hypnosis was hokey. And that my hypnosis teacher became my meditation. He was a Zen Buddhist. And I didn't know that when I did hypnosis. And then finally, one day we combined the hypnosis and the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mind blown.
Yeah, because we did the hypnosis and then we transitioned from sitting comfortably to just sitting on the meditation cushion. No words, no words. And you don't have to fold up your legs, but we did. And then like 2 hours later, where was I? And I wasn't asleep either. I wasn't asleep. I was highly aware. And now you can get to some of these states using mushrooms and other kind of medicinal things. You can.
Right.
But I highly recommend people not be afraid of hypnosis. Should you research the person you're going to? Should you feel confident? There should be a lot of discussion. Most hypnotists will do a meeting with you before, so you're comfortable where you are, and then we'll start to put it in. So it shouldn't be like, yeah, come on in. It shouldn't be like that.
Right.
If you're doing a mantra, I will eat broccoli, I will eat broccoli, that is self-hypnosis. That is positive reinforcement. And
It is.
mantra
I mean, the
is
way that you break it
hypnosis.
down, it is.
It is absolutely hypnosis.
All
You
right.
have to self-administer. So
Am I-
congratulations that you cured yourself.
Yeah. It was a journey. Definite journey, but I feel it just, it helped open my eyes a lot to what we do here in the Western world and what has always been in existence, that you don't need all of that. You just need to center yourself and just listen. Just listen to yourself. And
Yes. And
you would have told, if you would have told me that 20 years ago, I'm like, give me my Tylenol, give me my, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it took something that detrimental, like you said, it shouldn't have to be you get sick to look for these things, but it just happened to be that I got sick and I looked for these things.
That's how my journey started.
Yeah.
False positive breast cancer. I mean, on a mammogram.
False positive.
Yeah, false positive. And as
Yeah.
I tell people that even with that, I know again, modern medicine has happened and things aren't the way they used to be. But when you get that talk or that possibility of cancer being in your life, I'm gonna be honest. The first thing I thought about was I'm gonna fucking die. I didn't care what anybody said. That was the first thing that came through my head. I go, God damn it, I'm gonna die. And knowing what I know now, that's not the case, but you're human.
First thing, and ancient people would have said, well, of course you're going to die. You see, this is the problem with
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We're talking about the people and the aged people, the old folks home and all this stuff. We are also now at a problem where for some strange reason, the person is 95 years old with dementia and has no life. They have no life, but they're alive.
Right.
They have
Right.
no life,
Yeah.
they're alive. And somehow that is, well, it is a value. It is a value to the insurance companies. It is
Right.
a value
Absolutely.
to keep you living, but not alive.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a very modern, messed up situation we have. Well, no one wants to die. No. And so they've got us. They've got us like drug dealers have us. You want to live.
Right.
They're like, you want to live. Come into this modern medical.
Come
Now,
on.
the ancient people would
Right.
not have said that. Ancient people would have said, of course you're dying. The question is, how do you want to die?
Yep.
How do you want to die? How do you want to die?
Absolutely.
Yes, and the people would say, I want to die peacefully, right?
Hmm.
And so then
Yeah.
they would say, you need to practice dying peacefully now. And that is meditation. Meditation is a depth of peacefulness that they're recommending that you acquire before you die, before you start dying, because you are going to die. And
Yeah.
when you acquire that depth of peacefulness way before, and to them, what they consider is you want death to be really peaceful. You don't want to be grasping for life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it won't be. It's like grasping for a rope that's not tied onto anything. It won't be coming.
Right.
So what they would say is that when you meditate, you become aware of something potentially transitional.
Wow.
And so instead of grabbing for this rope, in meditation, you understand that there's something potentially transitional. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to grasp for it. You have to lean into it like a wave and follow it and let it carry you. Well, no one wants to hear all that bullshit when you get a diagnosis. And what do you, no. And that
Right.
is only because people who meditate, when they get a prognosis, they're like, thank you for that prognosis. And they go back and continue meditating and they take the medicine. I had a client once, she did yoga classes and she did all the yoga and all the meditation and everything. And she was engaged to be married and she got cancer. I can't remember if it was lung or I can't remember what kind of cancer, breast cancer. Anyway, she knew my yoga classes, so she disappeared for a couple of years. Then she came back and she was like, I was gone because I had cancer and had to go through all my treatments. I'm like, okay. And she said, now I have one more doctor's appointment. Supposedly I'm cancer free. I'm like, congratulations. She said, but I can't get that out of my mind. And actually, I'm going to come into a phase where I'm not going to have any more appointments. You have to go. And then
Right.
and then they say, oh, see ya, bye.
Right.
And she was told that she wanted to get married to her husband. She was told she wasn't going to have children. She could do chemotherapy, yada, yada. Might not be able to have children. And so she wanted to go into deep meditation work, which we did for about 6 months. And then she got married and then she left the gym and she moved. So she got married. Child got 2 children now.
Oh, wow.
She got 2 kids. And I see her, I train her online like this. And I see these grown people walking around behind her. And I'm like, who's, she's like, yeah, those are my kids that
they told me I couldn't have. Right.
Right.
Wow.
You see, so I know. So early people would have said, yes, of course you're going to die. How would you like to die? There's no escaping this thing. Where in modern culture, we go grasping. And because they get you grasping, now even after you've been cleared, there's still anxiety.
Right.
and false negatives and
Yep.
all of these kinds of things, right? And so that's why you have to practice dying now. You have to practice dying. I know that sounds strange. You have to practice menopause before you get to menopause. You have to practice dying before you get to die. You have to practice losing your balance. You have to, dementia. When my dad got here, he doesn't have dementia and things like that, but I made him start writing in a book. He actually has a light memory problems. And when he gets upset about something, then he can't remember. So he has to write things in a book every morning. And when he has a question, I'm like, well, you wrote that in the book. Go back in the book. So I'm trying to prepare him to have a method for remembering things. Just write it down now, and then you go back in the book. And he's much healthier living with me than he was on his own. Vitamins. You ladies probably take vitamins, but my father is of an age of like vitamins.
Oh my God.
Yes.
My grandmother said, if you ate the food you're supposed to, there's no reason for no damn vitamins. That was her thing.
Now he's got the B12, the D, the E.
Yep.
He's got the niacin is good for his heart. Potassium, magnesium. He's got like 10 different things.
Yeah.
And he's mad at me. He's got 10 different vitamins and 8 different medicines every day. So he's taking a lot of pills. But I really do believe that the vitamin regimen, the walking in the sunlight, and the writing things down in the book are truly giving him longevity, living with me, helping him with health, healing, health. Healing.
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's working for your dad. It's funny. Like, I remember I would always ask you and Coach T, it's, God, you guys are into physical fitness and all of this. How about your family? And you're like, well, that's how I feel with my mom. I'll tell her certain things and, okay, yeah. The whole thing about where she's at now, like I think I was telling you, she's getting back her mobility, but then they also at 3:00, they had Pekino. I was like, man, Mom, they got Pekino. And I go, it ain't bingo. You ain't gonna worry about spending money. She's like, I'll work up to that. And I was trying to tell her, you're in this facility. It's not coincidental that you're doing something for your mind. Those two work together. And I'm thinking she's hearing me. And I go, that's all right. You don't listen to me. I listen to you. Well, okay. She didn't go to Pekino.
We talk about that mind and body. So like I have another client, he's 36. He's kind of a techie. He's he's banking. And he has a lot of, 36 is young to me, so he has a lot of anxiety. And he's he's a little bit too intelligent. So he's kind of techie, intelligent, brainiac in many ways. And so what we have discovered is that when he stops and thinks analytically about a situation and tries to solve it, like not himself solving it, just tries to solve it. So in yoga, you have awareness and observation. Scientists have to be aware and they have to observe. So one of the first things I gave him was observing himself. So observing yourself is the mind. So when your mom is about, she's not listening to you, but I would say she's probably not listening to herself. See, this is where I go in with people, right? So if you listen to yourself, you want to live. See, I'm telling you, if you listen to yourself, you want to be healthy. You want to live. You want fun. You want laughter. You want, if you really deeply listen to yourself, you want love and friendship and connection. Right? So if you start listening to that voice, it should get you out of the room. If you were to look at the problem, the mind should take your feet up and out of that room and go to Pekino. You see? So when we talk about mind-body connection, it's not woo-woo. It's not woo-woo like.
True.
It's I'm sorry. It just, my thing is, like I said, I can sit here and literally listen to you all day.
I know.
But I told you this, but
you did.
Told you,
and I'm like,
I told you.
I have so many questions.
But
also, and for everything that I know, my brother passed away the first year of COVID. He was obese and had a lot of medical issues. Now, he was never going to live with me. We have a family history of hypertension. So people in my family have died because on my mother's side, they were all in Detroit, in Michigan, And if you think about the 60s, people were told it was okay to smoke cigarettes. It was definitely okay to smoke cigarettes and drink. And it was
Right.
definitely okay to take birth control, smoke cigarettes, and drink.
You
All of
didn't have
my
to have
aunties, all
seatbelts
of
in the
them, all,
car.
yeah, no seatbelts in the car. All of that's fine. So on that side of the family, they all kind of died for those reasons. So if I look at my family, my father has high hypertension. Not now though, because he lives with me now, and
Right.
because of the regimen that I've given him. So if I go to the doctor, they're probably going to see that I have hypertension. When I do go, they're like, "Oh, you're fit," and they're a little surprised that I have hypertension. But see, that's in my family history.
As is
So
mine.
what I have to do is I have to work on that, not taking the medicine that my brother and my father, because the medicine messes up your liver and your kidneys and all of that medicine, all of the pharmaceuticals
Why
is
do they
taxing.
always attack every medicine that you hear about on these commercials? It always says something about attacking the liver or the kidneys. May cause this to
Right,
your liver, may cause
right,
this to
right,
your
right.
kidneys.
But if you look at Ayurveda and if you look at ancient, okay, all of the medicine, it is not coming from Saturn or Jupiter. All of the medicine is coming from this planet, Earth, from plants and stuff here.
Yes.
Now, it is purified and it is amalgamated in such a way to become a compound. This is true. And you would have to eat a lot of lettuce to get the compounds.
Right.
But this is why we have to research and learn for ourselves, because once you're not using the human brain is so smart. The human brain is so smart. However, we all went to high school and then we went to college.
Right.
And we got a job. And when we got the job, we were like, this is the last thing I'm going to learn is this damn job. Whatever this job, this is the last thing that I'm going to learn. And if my wife or my husband, even if my husband comes to me and says, you need to learn how the car engine works, I'm going to go, nope, I do not need to learn how the car engine works. I'm a grown person with money and somebody else going to fix my car. So after a certain age, for whatever reason, we decide we don't need to learn anything anymore. I don't need to learn medicine. No, we have doctors for that. I don't need to learn. This is sad because the human brain is the biggest computer on this planet. And we just simply get to an age and just go, nah.
I say that all the time, that the brain is the first supercomputer ever created. Yes, it is.
And we just go, nah.
I remember when calculators were coming out, and my grandmother, who's deceased, but she was a school teacher, and she was still adding. I'm like, Grandma, even on those little peachy folders, and they had little square with the little multiplication. I go, it's right here. She's nope. She still wrote out the check because she said, again, you're mine. You what is it? Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it.
Yep.
And that's what she would do.
Mind and body. Yoga, mind and body. Use
it is
them
so true.
or lose them.
It is so true. My grandmother said the same thing. She was like, I gotta keep moving. Like the people when you go to the grocery store and you see these 40-year-olds and 20-year-olds in the cart driving the cart. And you're like, I want to be like, why are you on that? They may have some type of other condition. And I try not to think that way. But in my mind, I'm like, get your butt up and walk, right? But my grandmother said that I have to keep moving. And sure enough, she's 104. When she fell and hurt her hip, she wasn't able to move anymore. That's when she stopped walking. But she's still 104. She's still here, 104. But that mobility, it broke her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. But a lot of people break the hip, go to the hospital 6 months later, they're gone. But that she is still with us. It's phenomenal. And that was her attitude when she was younger.
Her attitude.
Gotta keep moving, right?
Yeah.
But so she didn't wait till after she fell. So that carrying that, see, this is what people don't understand.
Yes. She carried that.
So, and then I will also say this, the mind is fast, the body is slow.
Yeah.
Your body is very, very, Kim, I know you have children, right? Do you have children?
I do.
Great. So What do you do with children is over and over and over and over and
Yes.
over again.
Even in their
The
30s.
school
Right.
starts at 8. Be on the bus. That's over and over and over and over again. Now, see,
Yeah.
look how it happens. What we have now with modern people is something that I'm just going to call emotional states. I want to be happy. I have a lot of students come, how do I use yoga to make me happy? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not, there's no such thing as that. How do I use yoga? I want to be successful. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as that. So modern people, for some reason, believe in this amorphous state that's just an emotional success, happiness. What are these things? I don't even know what these things are.
Right.
I mean, I could look at it more or less as a goal, but then I'm moving on to something else. I want to do something else.
Yeah, they're not a state of being like your
No.
mind and your body actually exist. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Happiness and success come and go. Here's a mantra for your people listening to the podcast. This is a mantra that I give a lot of my students. I am shining like the sun. Clouds may come and go, but I am always shining. I am shining the sun. Clouds may come and go. I am always shining. I am shining the sun. Clouds may come and go. I am always shining. So this is a repeated positive reinforcement mantra. It's not a classic Sanskrit mantra, but it's positive reinforcement. And what does that say to you? That happiness is just a come and go state. Sadness is coming. Success is, you could be great in your job and then you have a child that's struggling. Is that your fault? Are you successful as a parent? You could, everything's going good. And you could be a minister and people coming to your church is going down. But if you save one soul, you see what I mean? You have success. And now people want everything to be scalable. They want the business to be scalable.
Yes.
All of these terms coming in, which are like clouds that come and go. These things are not stable at all because you're going to die. So how can your...
I get it, but damn.
You know, look at Apple. Look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is a perfect example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he really gave us something, the iPhone and all of that. And I guess Apple will do whatever it's going to be doing as it goes forward. But none of that did anything for his cancer.
Not a thing.
No.
You see?
He still died.
Right. And then there's that struggle. The mind and body, the body is something that's held stable photonically. Photons come and go and they disappear, right? So I'm going into a real deep dive. My other favorite subject is physics.
Okay.
The photons are not stable. Inside of the nucleus of an atom, inside the atom is a bunch of photons and they're just bouncing around and they disappear and they come back, which means that 10 times a day, we disappear photonically. And we are stable and come back as the same thing. Right? That's crazy time. What are you saying to me?
Yeah.
At the photonic,
See, I told you,
where do I go?
Man.
Where do I go?
Right? Now, what the yogis would say is what you come back to is something that's stable.
Correct.
Yes, you come back as something that's, call it the spirit or the soul, but photonically you're bouncing around and you come back. Your atoms and everything, the nucleus, it transforms and comes back. And so it's like a photocopy. It's like you're being photocopied. If you keep photocopying something and then put the photocopy on again, and eventually the photocopy fades. Are you with me?
Exactly.
Exactly. And so to them, that's what death was. So basically you're born and you're just photocopying and then that which was stable starts to lose its stability.
Correct.
Right. So your body is fairly stable, but it is decaying, but it's stable enough to come back just that much older, which also takes a while for us to perceive. When we age, aging, I believe, is every 12 years. There's some signs of 12 years. So you're 1 and then you're 12. And then
24?
you're another kind of person. Let's say a teenager. And you've
Right.
had children, and it's true. They're a child, and then one day you're like, you're not an adult yet, but
Right.
you're stabilizing into the you that's you. Then the next phase is 24. Well, we can all remember being 24, and
Yes.
you are not 12 anymore.
No.
Right.
There's another little funky phase there. Okay, next is 36.
36.
Now, probably at our age, we're like, yeah, like you're almost 40, and it could be around 40. Like there's something preceding 40 that feels funky. If you're not married yet, or if you are married, it's just something around 36. If you're going to quit your job, maybe you quit the one little beginning job you got when you were 30, and you quit it and you got the better job somewhere around 36.
Yep.
And then that's stabilized. Yep. Until what's next? 48.
48. Yep.
And then I'm not old, but these kids running around. I like these kids and these teenagers.
Why the music so loud?
What?
They don't have to holler. And what are they saying?
Right.
So there's this theory of 12 and aging. And so we can, after this podcast, and the people listening can go and ask yourselves about this theory of 12. And there's something fairly accurate about it. So some people say there's these photonic shifts, universal shifts. The frequency is changing, your frequency, your vibrations, the photonically, the quantum stuff is shift to change. You woke up the next morning, you woke up on the 12th year morning, and we're just something different, right?
You know, that's interesting you say that, because sometimes see some older people, and either we're actors or what have you, and you see a more current picture of them, you'll say, ooh, they turned the corner, they're starting to get that next look, specifically what you just said.
Which is why my hair is
true.
this color, because I'm like,
Well.
oh, wait a minute. I see all this gray coming in. I said,
let me embrace it and make it all one color. There you go.
Right.
No, people won't notice.
Yeah. But you do see it. My husband is gone back east to go visit his mom. He hasn't seen her in a few years. So what his concern was, he remembered what she looked like the last time he saw her.
Right.
And when he comes back next week, it'll be very interesting to hear what that shift was, because last time he said, yeah, mom's starting to get that next look. So now, and she just turned 80. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly what, and she walks everywhere. She's very healthy. So it's very interesting to see that. And talking about health and wellness, on one of the podcasts I talked about, I went to Japan in February. It was amazing. I didn't realize I didn't know how old everybody was, but that's where a lot of the centenarians are. And just the way things were, everybody, they had cars, they had traffic, the whole 9 yards, but I saw older people on bikes. I'm talking old school bikes that you had to pedal. Kids were on those bikes. People walked. They did everything. Portions of food were not like they are here. But again, it's the type of food they ate, because a lot of what we eat can't come into other countries. And you could tell the difference. I mean, we ate and we drank a lot, but we also were out, we walked around and everything. And you didn't have that hangover. You didn't feel sick. You didn't feel, ugh. It was very interesting. So again, as you're talking, maybe because I want to go back to Japan, but when you're talking, I'm seeing things reminiscent of that. They definitely have a different outlook along the lines of what you just talked about.
And you look, America is European culture. Let's just put it this way. European culture is really messed up. They don't want longevity. So you're talking about a culture that has established monarchy that is only to be passed down within the one family, kings and queens, right?
Right.
The only longevity, the only person who should live longer is the king. And that king really does not want anyone else living longer than them. Why would you want that? You wouldn't want that. You want somebody living. You want your nephew to die. You definitely want your brother to die, because then when you die, your brother's going to be on the throne.
Absolutely.
That's narcissistic.
Right? And if your wife dies, you just get another one. And it's really bad if your wife doesn't give you a boy. You're a boy. You don't care about your brother's boy. And you hope your brother's boy, your nephew, you hope your nephew dies. So this culture is completely transactional, and no one in this culture wants longevity. The
Right.
top, and you see this happening now in America, the top person doesn't even want you to have money. They want to soak up everything and live forever. if white people, if they could figure out how to live forever, that is what they want to hold, and they don't want other people living longer.
Mhm.
Now, in other cultures, there were kings, but one of the sign of the power of the king was the health of his people. That was a sign of his kingdom, was how they care for people, the animals, the food, the crops, and prayers to God for the crop. Listen, in European culture, what do they pray for God? What do they pray for in in Christianity? What do we want?
Obviously, I haven't
Eternal life.
I ain't been to church in a while. Sorry.
Eternal life.
Let us think about this.
Yeah.
If you get it right, if you get all your prayers right, you're going to go to a place where
The
you
mansion
will have
in the sky.
eternal life. And most ancient religions didn't really think of it that way. They thought there is source energy, and we shall be returning to that source. That source energy has eternal life. I, as an individual, do not have eternal life. You can't maintain individuality eternally. So in yoga, they will say it's like this. You have an ocean with water in it, and you have an ocean wave, and the wave goes up, splash, psh, and one little sprinkle of water separates from the ocean. And for a moment, it is an individual ocean drop.
Right.
For a moment. And then goes
Until
back
it
down
drops
into
back
the ocean.
down.
Now, does that little ocean drop have eternal life? Not as an individual, no.
But collectively, yes.
Right.
And thank you. That's our show. No.
Yeah. So I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's wrong, but you could see why now we have health issues.
Yes,
Now, because
absolutely.
we're praying for some mysterious salvation, and we're constantly spiritually, mentally, and physically in a grasping motion. Grasp for it. Pray
Looking
for
for that pill.
grasping, as opposed to like, well, we're going to die. How would you like to die? Peacefully. Practice it now. Do you want arthritis? Look at your grandmother. Now, while it's true she had a fall and she can't be mobile now, her attitude about mobility is what's sustaining her. That attitude was established a long time.
Yeah. It was.
And you
it
can't
was. No.
you can't do it for somebody else. All your positivity cannot, because I just felt like I'm pulling my hair out, and I don't want to do that. But it's crazy. It's crazy because you know how you have the foresight to see what's going to happen down the road. And it's not that you're being psychic. It's not that you're being arrogant. It's just basic facts. And I'm saying to my parent that they would say to me when I was younger, I can't want it more than you. You know,
I can't want.
Right.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know?
And really who I think we need to pay more attention to, if our parents are in a care facility, we actually need to pay more attention to the people taking care of them. You're going to start to read articles about how downtrodden and depressed and ill these people working in these facilities are, because they're caring for someone who doesn't want to care for themselves. And which is a misappropriation of energy, but they're doing it because God bless them, right? They're doing it, they're compassionate, they're caring, they're the Mother Teresa. And so when we go into these facilities, and I don't care if it's evil Nurse Cratchit, I don't care if the nurse If you go and your mom and your dad said, that nurse doesn't smile and she locked the door on me and whatever, the first thing we have to realize is that this person is working in really an unacceptable job, really. And a lot of mostly women, yes, take on this role. And nurturers,
Caregivers.
which sounds lovely. Oh, you're a caregiver. Oh, you're a nurturer. Right? But it's a misappropriation of that energy, because if you think about nurturing, a mother nurtures her children. Once it get past 6 or 7 children, gone. One child.
Hell, after it gets
3
past the
children.
second one.
Yes.
That's
But
right.
see what I'm saying about energy?
Yeah.
Nurturing can't go past the energy of the nurturer.
Absolutely.
And a lot of these workers are just like zombies. They need a job, they want to get paid, and they have to cut off their emotion, right?
Yes.
So we owe it to them to practice wiping our booty now, to practice. There are people without legs. There are people there's the girl without arms. She go wipe her own booty. She figured it out. She's on the internet. I don't have arms, and let me show you what I figured out today. Putting her own clothes on and baking in her kitchen. One of my dearest clients worked with the Obamas. She's a lawyer for the disabled. She got to go to Fort Knox and stuff. There's stuff on our money now. There's stuff on that's all of her legal stuff. She worked with President Obama and the Clintons. Only because the Democrats are out, she doesn't have a job now. But she worked, and I would go to these conventions and things with people with disabilities. And I said to her one day, I said, aging is a disability. We just don't know it. Right? And you would see people without arms and without legs and can't see, and they're figuring out their disability.
Yeah.
Aging is the only disability we don't take any time to figure out. We just get old, and too bad for us. You have to think about it now.
Right. I agree with that.
When you're 40.
So I kind of want to get a little bit off track. Not really, though. Again, like I said, I can listen to you all day. It's practical stuff that you're talking about, historical, but then you bring it up to today's standards. How many Black women do you actually encounter in your field? Because again, we're talking differences even down to BMI charts. And you're saying the chart for Black women or more hippier women, when they're making it seem like there's something wrong with you because you are more voluptuous. And I'm just like, in your field, how do people, you've made a name for yourself now, but you walk in there, you're going to do yoga, and you walk in as a Black woman. What is the reception like? Like, really? How do they know? They're surprised when we're doing ballet. They're surprised when we're doing hockey, even though hockey started with us to begin with. But how do they treat you when you walk through the room?
So for me, because I studied ballet and opera, by the time I got to yoga, I didn't care. I'm a Black woman singing classical music. I can speak French and German. What? How do you do? So by the time I got to yoga, I didn't give up.
You had already been through it.
Whatever little vibe. And this is what I try to tell Black women. Yoga is for people. Yoga was made by Black and brown people in Africa and India. It was made by us, for us. FUBU, right?
Yeah.
So whatever little vibe you're catching at the local yoga center because you're the only Black woman, just you go and you learn. Now, I had teachers that would maybe look at my body and either not pay attention to me or say I had to suck it in or tuck it in. But see, I had already gone through all of that with ballet. So what I did was I got myself a teacher who was Black. And this I will also say on the podcast. I'm here, Black women. I'm here in the internet. I'm here. Come find me.
Yeah, I've told people about your channel.
Yeah.
I'm slapping myself because I haven't gone.
Come find me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if you just want to have a conversation about this, even if you just want to talk, you say, I'm wherever you are. I'm in Delaware. It doesn't matter. I went to a yoga center and this is what they told me. We can just talk about it. But I want to get you to yoga where you are. I want to get you to a yoga studio. I don't even care if you follow a white woman on YouTube. I want you to know what she's doing. I want you to go, oh, okay, so she's doing this. I don't care if she's skinny, blonde, whatever. She is doing yoga, and that's the part we need to pay attention to. Okay, so that's it. Now, the other thing is, I am not voluptuous. I'm kind of a string bean. So I actually struggle to attract Black women to me. Isn't that the twist?
I
Right?
Right.
wouldn't have thought it.
So
No.
Like, she don't look like
right?
me.
Right. So there's a Black woman who wrote a book, and she's voluptuous and large. If I wrote the same book, it would not sell. Her book sold. She's phenomenally well known. Almost like a, what's the
I
singer?
see her on IG.
Yeah. What's the singer? Hair straight down my nails.
Oh, Lizzo? Lizzo?
Lizzo? Yeah.
So Lizzo is losing weight.
Yes.
I heard that.
Right. And so now culturally, as an artist, people are torn about her now. I really liked her.
They
'cause she was a
demonizing
big
her.
girl talking about being sassy in boots, and big
Yep.
girl talking about, and now how's she going to go and lose weight and get all sexy?
Right.
She has abandoned me. This is what I
Right.
want to say. Your health. Lizzo is getting healthy. Thank you. I'm glad that she is. She is an incredible artist. She's an incredible music writer. She's an incredible poet. And she can continue doing that. And she should. And if you were listening to her music and following her just because she was voluptuous and large, then that's shame on you. Because then you weren't
Correct.
really listening to the music.
Right.
Which is great.
Right.
Her songs are great. So this is what I want to say to Black women. Then also, there are places in America, in Houston, there's a lot of Black women practice yoga. And I would say, like, if I wanted to move somewhere, get into a Black women's community of yoga, it's Houston,
Atlanta?
Baltimore. Yeah, Houston and Atlanta,
Mhm.
Baltimore. And I'm thinking someplace in the East Coast, but I can't feel it. But Baltimore also, for whatever reason, Baltimore has a lot going on. So like when I follow other Black women who have large Instagram pages, yeah, they're not in California, right? They're not in Miami. They're not where string bean white women are doing well. They're in these very interesting places. The question is, if I went there, I wouldn't do well. I just wouldn't do well because of that voluptuous piece. I'm fine with that. That's okay. And if we use the word voluptuous, that is different than being obese and overweight. I think that's another thing Black women we need to come on, huddle up in here, okay?
Yes.
And sit. Yes. Are you obese? Right?
Are you
obese?
asking us?
No, I'm just saying that we need to come together as a family of Black women and say, am I
Yes.
obese? Am I voluptuous?
Right.
You can be thin and have a fatty liver, right?
Yep.
We need to understand what obese is so you can have a higher fat ratio. I could have a higher fat ratio. So we really need the words that we use.
Exactly.
We were saying voluptuous, but I would prefer that we be more, we're talking about ourselves, that we more talk about ourselves, that we don't use words like, well, I'm a voluptuous girl, What do you mean? I don't know. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Define voluptuous.
You could say, I'm a D cup. I'm a triple D. I saw a woman on BART. I was like, oh, you're in that category. She was all big and huge up here and had a little waist and little booty and little feet and
little bird legs.
Right?
Oh God.
Yeah. Is that she obese? Is that voluptuous?
Right.
See what I mean? I would just say, as we get together as Black women, that we don't, let us not use one word. Let's have more words. And if you are not healthy, if you are obese, you need to actually use that word and say, I am on a journey away from obesity. Yeah. I have a client, she's 370 pounds. She's not Black. She is the most obese client that I've ever worked with. And the things that we work on and her challenges are the challenges of an obese person. And it's a feeling in her body that I have never felt and I will never feel. She is 370 pounds.
Right.
That's no joke, going up a flight of stairs.
No.
Yeah.
I know. I was
I
300
could win
pounds
it
at one
sometimes
point.
going up mine.
Yeah.
You have had an obesity journey,
Yes. I had an
right?
obesity journey.
Right.
We didn't even recognize. I hadn't seen E for years because after I stopped going to that same church, I didn't see her. And I remember we were at the grocery store and she recognized us and I didn't recognize who she was. And she's, hi. And she's packing her bags and we're like, hi. And who is that? I go, oh. And then we realized that, oh my God, yeah, now we know who she
Yep.
was. But I did not know, did not notice.
Yep.
They
You know,
recognize it.
if it's alcoholism, we want that person to clarify. We want to be able to say, you go to AA and you say, I am an alcoholic. We need AA for obese people, right? And you could go. The reason why you could go to those meetings is because basically you've had an obesity journey. So you know the arc of those sensations. That's why you have to say, I'm an alcoholic. Even though I haven't had a drink for 10 years, I'm still an alcoholic because I know
Absolutely.
the arc of those sensations, right?
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
this is what I would like to see, and maybe we even have some AA for Black women because we're so bombarded. We're so bombarded. We don't even know ourselves, and we're using words that other people have given us. We don't know culturally. Do I have to have my fingernails done? What if my feet are skanky? We don't really know. How is my hair? Braids, locks, bald? What are we doing? Look at what happened with the Oscars with Chris Rock. He got punched in the face because he made a comment.
Oh, Jada?
About her hair and said,
Right.
See, we've all forgotten what he said. Do you remember what he said?
No.
He said
I
something
can't.
like, oh, your wife has joined the Green Beret. Or no, it was G.I. Jane.
Oh,
G.I.
G.I.
Jane.
Jane.
Right. G.I. Jane with the buzz cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That sparked everything, you know? And she's like, I have alopecia, right? So he should be knowing. My feeling about it is he should be, how is he a Black man and not know that, no, you don't mention this.
And you
The
don't touch
crown.
it too. I'm just saying, you don't touch it either.
Oh, look at your locks, your braids.
Mm.
Right.
Right.
And you're talking about how we have to carry ourselves, and even with my hair, if I'm going, and I've never had the problem, but I don't, as you're saying, I want to make sure I don't have the problem. I practice dying, that kind of thing. When I go, I might have my jean jacket on. My hair is inside my jacket, or I have it. If I have it down, I'll have it all to one side.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't want that little sneak attack feel. Or somebody just come right up and just feel that they have permission that was not given to them.
Right.
Oh, I like this. What is this?
Right.
Yeah. And Kim, we talked about this a long time ago, why Black women don't exercise. And the main reason is hair. It's hair.
Yeah. And
Well,
that was
yeah,
what it was
they
said.
don't swim either. And I love to swim, but they
I-
will not swim because, oh,
Same
my
thing.
hair. But I'm
Yeah.
like, there are swim caps, but oh, you can't look cute.
I got a
while
swim
you're
cap for
swimming.
my locks, by the way.
Right.
You can get that. But then
You
if you
now-
get it.
if you look at African women, there's actually a problem in Africa that they don't, Africans themselves aren't swimming. There's the ocean and then there's Africa, and they just, the swimming is not part really of their culture. So the thing I would say about the locks and the braids and everything is, if you are in a hot, arid place, this is what you would do with your hair. And the you're sweating, but it's arid, so it's not humid. It's not humidity.
Right.
And so the sweat is just moving through these locks and braids, and it's just moving, and your scalp is feeling so good, everything just moving through that. So you're taking African Americans and transplanting them now, right? And then you see the old-timey pictures with the scarf, so there was a lot of bonneting, but white women did that too. See, so poor white women would scarf up and bonnet up. Okay. So then the question is, look at what Prince did when he did the Super Bowl. Do you remember what Prince did when he did the Super Bowl? He came on the stage with a scarf on his head. He came in with he had a little purple scarf.
Yep.
Right. He brought that as a cultural statement. Why can I not walk out of my house with a scarf on my head? Why can't I?
Yep.
Black woman can't put our bonnet on. I can't put something to keep my hair where I need it to stay. Somehow that's poor culture.
Yeah.
Get out
Yeah.
of here.
Well,
That's
yeah.
a good one. That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Maybe there's a place where Black women can get together and talk about these things. And yes, I would bring the yoga. I will bring the yoga because yoga is ours. Yoga is absolutely yoginis. The history of the yoginis, there are a lot of people say historically now say that it was women who actually created yoga, and they would go in the forest and practice many things, and that the men would secretly go and watch them, and then the men went and wrote it down and then turned around and said women couldn't practice it. And then
Oh
all the
wow.
yogini and then all the you can go and see all the yogini temples were
Mhm.
abandoned. They were abandoned, and then the men said, oh, the women are practicing witchcraft, and the men had all the books. So the men took everything, wrote it down, wrote it in these books, and said, well, we have the
Mhm.
books. If you're practicing it without the books, that's witchcraft or something. And all the yogini temples were abandoned, and for a long time they said that women could not practice, or at least could not teach it, could not teach yoga.
Well, that's just like
And
all those
so
books are in the Vatican. Same
it,
thing.
yeah.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna,
hopefully listeners will think differently about yoga and embrace it, and
Well, I've
I,
learned a lot today. I
I
mean,
know.
just like I told you, we just have casual conversation and you just see how it
My
manifests and
mind's
where it
blown.
goes and go from there.
My
yeah,
mind is
it
blown.
yeah. In my practice, I've had a lot of students, thousands and the thousands. I've been doing this for 30 years, so I've looked at a lot of human bodies, and now I'm looking at bodies that I've known. I have students, I've known them for 20, 25 years. So not only do I see myself changing, but I see the various changes. And a lot of them are coming to me now. It's sort of like Kim with the stand up and put your socks on and saying, I am so glad you taught me that 20 years ago. And
I
they
hear you.
live
I
by it.
still hear
Mhm.
you in my head with that.
So
Okay.
now we have to practice wiping the booty.
Right.
Well, it's called a bidet.
Yeah, the
So
bidet.
I have this question.
Uh-huh.
What would you recommend for a person? Let's just say, because we were talking about us melanated people,
Yes.
melanated 50 something year old
Yeah.
woman, never thought about yoga, never thought about stretching. What would be your recommendation for them to start?
Yeah. The first thing is just get down on the floor. So wherever you are in your home, if you have hardwood floors or some kind of situation you don't want to go down on the floor, then you get a
Hmm.
mat or a small carpet or something. It could
Hmm.
be out your patio, it doesn't matter. You have to come down to the floor. You have to go from standing down to all fours and then stand back up. When we do sun salutes, our arms overhead, inhale, exhale, forward, fold, hands on the floor. Step back, plank, push up. So already the third move is down on the floor. Push up, upward dog, downward dog. Your hands are on the floor, your feet on the floor. Then you have to step or jump up or get into a position so you can stand back up again. So a sun salute is just up, down, up, up, down, up. You don't have to do yoga sun salutes. You don't have to do
Nope.
yoga sun salutes. All you got to do is stand in your home and come down on the floor, stand back up. Do that 10 times. That will change your life. That alone will change your life. Stroke victims have to crawl first. Crawling is the first human thing. Crawling all fours. So if you look at anybody, you can go to your family and you go to your husband, go to people that you know and say, can you get down on the floor? And I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to go, why?
Exactly. Yes.
And
I'm
and
going to
that's
say
where
that.
the
They're going to
problems
say
are starting.
why.
Why?
Or they'll be
Well,
like,
I want to
oh,
see.
why?
Yeah. Like my father's 90, he can't do it anymore. He can't come down
Yeah.
on his knees.
Yeah.
He can't even bend over to pick anything up. So I would start there. And the next place I would start is, honestly, I love YouTube. What I love about YouTube is you don't put yoga in. Put breathing health, yoga for breath, yoga for the
Oh,
morning,
okay. Okay.
yoga for stretching, yoga for some kind of problem that you're having. You know what I mean? And then whoever pops up first, you know how YouTube works, is a handful
Right.
of things will pop up.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Algorithms,
there's the first person, and then watch a few of theirs, and then there's the second person, and watch enough people for you to find the person that you like. I think that's the mistake people make. They go, oh, I don't like that person. Well, watch 3, 5, or 6 of their YouTubes anyway, and then go to the next person. Don't just trash the first video and move on. I use YouTube for gardening, and so I follow like 12 different people for gardening to learn all about it. In different parts of the world, I'm learning about gardening, farming, gardening, flowers, gardening, whatever. So put in yoga for knees, yoga for emotion, yoga for anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next thing I would tell people. And then the third thing I would tell people is find a friend. Just like we would say in weight loss or alcoholism, try to find somebody who you will do it with and hold each other accountable.
Right.
So those are 3 things I would tell that person.
I mean, there's just been, and again, if we keep saying before, there's just been a lot that we've talked about and just learned about. Like I said, I don't know, obviously, a smidgen of what you've done. And
Yep.
I can't say enough just by the conversation. I just really am, and not to be a kiss ass, but really honored to have you on the show. No, I mean it. Because just listening to some of the stuff that you've talked about has just really been eye-opening. Stuff I might have heard pieces here, pieces there, but it definitely, I'm sure it's going to help at least one person. Not just saying about me, just somebody else.
Listen, you all are doing this podcast, right? And you've been doing this podcast, and you put it together, all the technical stuff, right? My husband has a podcast as well. I have a YouTube channel and some other things. I am not the technical person.
But you also have,
I was like, where's the
else.
link? And how so the link now? And so what it is that we figure it out. We figure it out because we want it.
Right.
Before we go, I want you to talk about your retreats, what it's about. I want you to shine. Tell us about your retreats, even though I might know some.
So I think a lot of people, I see people's faces when I say yoga retreat, and it's almost like, why? People who like yoga get it. But then people who like yoga, they go, oh, I did a retreat in Bali. Oh, I did a retreat in Italy. And that just sounds like a vacation to Bali. That just sounds like a vacation. Yoga should be an all-time thing. So I like to do my retreats in Nevada City in California. It's not that far. It's 3-4 hours out from the Bay Area. It's on your way to Tahoe, okay? And I like this place because it's in the woods. You're in the forest, like on the way to Tahoe. So like you're in the woods. And so the first thing I would tell people about it, it's really good for beginners. A yoga retreat is actually really good for beginners because you can access the teacher. So here we are all in the same lodge, and you come for the first class, the morning class, and you're struggling. Well, where is the teacher going? Nowhere. I mean, we're just all hanging out. So, you can ask the other students, and you'll see all these different kinds of students. So it's not like going to your gym and doing yoga. If you go to the gym and do yoga, you'll be the only person who can't do the yoga. You go on the retreat, you will not be the only person. I've had wives bring their husbands. I've had daughters come with their mothers. So you won't be the only person, be the beginner, and you have access to the teacher. The other thing is when you go to a yoga class at the gym or even at the studio, you're going at 4:30 p.m. because you can go at 4:30 p.m. and whatever the vibration is at 4:30 p.m., that vibration holds.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so morning practice, people who do yoga in the morning, the vibration is totally different. So I think beginners don't realize the best thing for beginners is absolutely morning practice. You just sit on the floor. There's some nice stretchy things like this. You just, and some nice twisty things. It's very, very nice morning practice. So when you go on retreat, you realize that morning practice is different than the afternoon practice. And then you have nighttime practice. So I do yin yoga. We go at 9:30 p.m. What?
Right.
Yes, because to me to do yin yoga at the gym at 7:30 is nonsensical. So now you're at the gym. You're all blissed out to the yin class. Now you got to get up, go to the locker room. The music is playing. You got to get in your car. You got to drive. Everything you built was destroyed. Whereas at a yoga retreat in the woods, it's 9:30. People come with their blankets and their pajamas. They come to the yin class ready for bed. Then we do the yin. And then I just tell people, when you're ready, you leave and go to bed. And it's like midnight. And the next morning, people are like, I have never slept so well. So they can just transition right from, and we have to walk from the little studio. You just walk and you're under the stars and the trees and the crickets. And one last year we saw a deer. We were like, we saw magical stuff as you're just going from quietly into your room. People don't even turn their lights on. They've got the PJs on already, and they just roll right into bed. And you can only get that on retreat. That's why you go on a yoga retreat. It is all yoga all day, and you can access the teacher. If you need an extra stretch, if you have an extra pain, other questions about Ayurveda, different things like that, you have access to the teacher. When these people go on Bali, when they go to these places like Bali and these places, this is how it goes. We're going to have morning practice. And then there's going to be a balloon ride, and a tourist is going to show you all this Bali stuff. Because people are like, well, I'm in Bali, so I want to see Bali. No, you should be going on a yoga retreat to do yoga, to be wrapped in the practice. That's why I like to be close to home. So when it's over Sunday morning, a lot of people on their way back driving will stop at a farmer's market, because you have to drive through the vineyards and all that. And they'll just drive back, and farmer's market, they'll get fresh tomatoes and corn. They just drive slowly back, and you're back home by Sunday afternoon. And a lot of people say they don't turn on the television. They really don't do anything with their Sunday evening when they return from yoga retreat, because they don't want to disturb.
Oh, I bet.
So
They want to bask in
so
the
please, if you're
afterglow.
listening, you can go to Cecily'sYogaRetreats.com and look on there. It's Nevada City on your way to Tahoe. Also, people will do the retreat with me one weekend, and then they'll go to Tahoe for the other weekend. So they'll match it with something else on the way. So they'll bookend it. And so that's
Okay.
great, because California is quite beautiful. So they'll just bookend it with the Airbnb somewhere else. And then they'll come home. So you can also do that. So that's
Wow.
one thing I do. And I'm only doing them every 2 years now. So
Oh,
yeah, because this stuff is expensive. I
okay.
would do, hey, if my phone start ringing, I will do it every year. And then I also do workshops. Here's another funny thing. I do my workshops in San Francisco. And I teach out in San Ramon. I'm out here in Antioch. And people do this. Do I have to come to the city? I'm like, yeah. What is wrong with you? Oh,
Okay,
don't wanna
I was
be
just thinking that. It was like, oh, God, I go to the city.
one of my students just came back from, her family's in Tel Aviv. She just came back from Tel Aviv. I said, do you want to come to retreat? Oh, that seems far away. You just came back from Tel Aviv.
A 20-hour plus flight, and now you're talking about that. Okay.
So I also do workshops in the city. I do them in the spring and I do them in the fall. I usually do 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And that is usually titled something like arm balances, inversions for beginners, deep stretching, upper body strength for women. So all of my workshops will have a specific title, and those are good for beginners. So a lot of people will say, I'm a beginner. Do you think I'm good enough to come to the workshop? Now let's think about this as cooking. Do you know how to cook? No. Then you need to be in the workshop to learn how to cook. If you know how to cook, you don't need to come to this workshop. You can, it'll be fun. But these things are for people who don't know how to do it. It's not for people who already know. And I think in the Black community especially, there's this fear. I can see it in people's faces. Will I be around other people? I don't think I'll be good at it. Do you understand? You're going to be in a room with only 10 other people. And trust me, you will not be the only person who sucks at it. I am the only person that needs to be good at it.
Right.
The only person in the room that needs to be good at it. If I sucked at it, you would want your money back.
Exactly. Is
So
she?
it's good.
Why?
So high value if you suck at it. If you suck at it, your value in the workshop is higher. But people are scared and intimidated. But I say so I do workshops. I don't have anything posted. I'm working on my website now, and I will have my fall workshop posted soon, maybe in the next month. And usually it's September, October. Sometimes I'll do a November Thanksgiving something meditation. I did meditation at the beginning of the year. And I guess what people want to work on. So if people engage with me and just tell me what they want, then that is the type of workshops that I will do. So otherwise I just guess. And I would love to do a workshop for Black women. I would love to do that. And so maybe that's something I'll look into doing. You all find me, text me, tell me that's something you'd like to do. And white women would be welcome and men would be welcome. Just so that you know, though, the workshop is going to be about Black women. So it'd be great if white women were there. It would be fine if men were there, as long as they're ready to hear everything, right?
Right.
So I do that. And that's pretty much what I do now for myself as an entrepreneur, is the workshops and the retreats. And then, of course, you see my screen and everything behind me. This is where I do online training. And I have monthly packages. I do have packages where you can buy singles, but I don't recommend that, is because then people don't use them. They kind of waste them. So when people are doing the monthly, my monthly people sort of jump around. They paid me for the month. So like, oh, I can get out of work at 4. Can you do me at 4 next week? I'm Sunday morning. Some of them travel and they travel in and out of time zones. So I really like the month. So I'm in this location online. I'm training people in the hotel room. I do fitness and Pilates with that. A lot of my monthly people, I'll see them 3 times a week. One of those times will be fitness. One of those times will be yoga. And one of those times will be core Pilates, and I can mix it up. I did a lot of post-COVID people who were really ill. I do some Tai Chi and Qigong and some of the Asian arts as well. I can teach self-massage, meditation, all of this online. I really like online training because it's very efficient. Otherwise, I just teach a lot for Equinox.
Well, we're going to get all of this from Yogi Cecily, and it's going to be attached in the description. So you guys can click on all of this if you are interested in the retreat, if you're interested in online, if you're interested in the Equinox. Did I miss one? I think I missed one. Oh my God.
That's mostly it. The retreat and the workshops, and then online. And then Equinox, you have to get an Equinox membership. This is people who obviously live in the city or San Ramon.
San Francisco. Hello. Is it BART accessible? Is it BART accessible?
All of the city clubs are.
Okay. Very good. Well,
I love
Miss
you all.
KayCee.
You are beautiful.
Thank you.
And likewise. Come on now.
Right.
We're all together here.
I have learned so much, and I'm like, we could go longer. Many questions.
But you know what that means? You know what that means, E?
Right.
She's going to have to come back.
Right. Yeah. And then we just
so
do more
many
specifics.
Questions.
We just do more specifics, you know?
Yes. Because I have some other questions.
We could even do some exercises in the podcast.
We
could do a breathing pranayama. We could do the breathing pranayamas and see how it goes.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yes. Yes, we have to have Yogi Cecily back. You guys, this was wonderful. This was amazing. Thank you so much. KayCee, is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, we want you back. We want you to come back.
Yes.
Right? This is a good time. So now that we have Saturday, not Sunday, this is a good time. If I'm not doing a workshop in the city, I'm totally available on Saturdays at this time. So you just get me, because I don't put clients in this time. So now I'm going to go out in the garden and have a mama's drink.
All right. I'm going to follow you with that one.
Right.
So, but again, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot, as always.
Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we love all our listeners. You can see this on YouTube if you want to see us live. If you want to see beautiful Yogi Cecily's face, our face, obviously we're on YouTube, as well as all Audible platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on everything where the podcast platforms
are. Let me say this to my students who will be following this, my
Yeah.
students, you are to continue following. Let me get closer to my students. You are to continue following these two ladies. It's not just because
Thank
I'm here.
you.
Please continue
Thank
following.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We would welcome them to the Disrupt and Discuss podcast for sure. Drop us a comment below if you are a part of Yogi Cecily's community. We would love to welcome you to our
Yes.
community. Love it. But again, you guys, thank you so, so much. I want to say this. Thank you so much. I've been looking at analytics. Hey, Germany, Egypt, Austria, a
Oh,
lot of folks that have been listening to us abroad. Thank you guys so much
yes.
and appreciative of the people who are gravitating to our podcast about health and wellness and all that entails. So we definitely are encouraged. Thank you so much. Please continue to like and download our podcast. We definitely love it. I'm looking at everything. I make sure that I'm well abreast of people who are looking, the demographics, things of that nature, and so humbled. We just started in December, this podcast, and it's just been an amazing ride, you guys. So
How
thank you
many
guys so
downloads, by the
much.
way? How
We
many
have
downloads?
almost 400 downloads. So we're making some milestones. Yes. So it's very, very encouraging. I just want to recognize and let you guys know that I see you. We see you. And we're so, so thankful for everything
Yes.
that you're doing. So again, you guys, we will talk to you and see you on the next one. Until then, bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their sea moss, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.